Another offseason is in the books for the Kansas City Chiefs, and we're going to take a look at how much the Chiefs roster has improved between the start of the 2023 season and the start of the 2024 season. I'm Gary McKenzie, your host here on RGR Football. Going to talk about grades for the Chiefs roster. So, starting at quarterback. I give the Chiefs positional group at quarterback an obvious A+. Very obvious. Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the NFL right now. And in my humble opinion, he's the best quarterback ever, just from a pure talent perspective. So the Chiefs obviously get an A+ to that position. Very easy one to grade. The changes between 2023 and 2024, basically Blaine Gabbert is no longer the backup quarterback. He was the backup quarterback in 2023. Replace him with Carson Wentz. And I think that the Chiefs quarterback room is even better than it was last year, especially at the backup position, with Carson Wentz taking Blaine Gabbert's spot. I like Wentz a lot more than Gabbert. Moving on to the running back position, I think this position group improved. I'm giving them a B going into 2024. The key loss for that position group was Jerick McKinnon. So Chiefs lose McKinnon, but they gained Samaje Perine and they gained Carson Steele. I think that last year's running back group was around a B-, so this is a very small improvement in terms of the running back position, but this group did get a little better. Isaiah Pacheco has another year under his belt, and I really like what Carson Steele brings to the table for this team. And then Samaje Perine did a lot of good things in pass pro last year for the Broncos. And really, he is kind of almost like Jerick McKinnon's replacement in a lot of ways. I could see him filling that role that McKinnon left. So running back position group improved a little bit. Wide receivers. The Chiefs lost 4 wide receivers that were on their opening day roster in 2023. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Richie James, Justin Ross, and Kadarius Toney. That's 4 wide receivers. Over half the wide receiver room for the Chiefs in 2023 is donezo. They're gone. So the new players the Chiefs brought on board, Marquise Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, Juju Smith-Schuster, interesting move by the Chiefs front office to bring him back on, and you have to think that this might be a Matt Nagy thing. I think Matt Nagy kind of wanted Juju Smith-Schuster back, and last year for the Patriots, he only had about 250 yards receiving. He played 11 games. I don't know if those 6 games that he missed were because of injury or if it was because he just was held out of the game. He didn't have much of a role, but the year prior to that, he had 900-plus yards for the Chiefs. So if you want to know how good of a quarterback Patrick Mahomes is, it's worth about 700 yards for a receiver over whatever Mac Jones was doing last year for New England. In addition to that, at first I was scratching my head about the Juju Smith-Schuster signing. But did you know he's only 27 years old? So this is a player, a wide receiver that's still very capable in his prime. And the more I think about this move, the more I like it, because it's not a move that is going to raise the ceiling for the Chiefs wide receiver group, but it's going to raise the floor. And there's a potential at some point in time that Rashee Rice might face a suspension towards the end of the year, although I'm leaning towards that court case getting continued and him not having any repercussion this season. But it's good insurance to have Juju Smith-Schuster. And like I said, it raises the floor of this wide receiver group, which has much improved since 2023. And I give this group a B+, and I might regret that grade because I really wanted to give them an A-. Last year, I would have given that group a C or a C- to start the season. They really had no proven talent. So this is a position group that has improved the most on the entire team. So the wide receiver room should be the most improved room for the Chiefs, and that's going to be good news for Patrick Mahomes. Moving on to tight end. So I give the tight end group an A. I gave them an A last year. That's because Travis Kelce, perhaps the greatest tight end of all time, is still on the roster. And yes, he's aging, but I have argued time and time again that I think that Travis Kelce's game, the way he plays, is well suited to age gracefully. I say this because Travis Kelce's game, he's always been an athletic tight end, especially for his size, but his game primarily relies on using his body, going with the flow of the offense, finding the spot, finding the soft spot in the defense, and kind of manipulating linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks with his hips. So these are things that you can do as you age. And I think Travis Kelce is bound to have another great year. I think this year will be better than last year for him because he's going to have less eyes on him because NFL defenses are going to have to keep their eyes on Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, and that's going to open up some things for Travis Kelce. Key losses for this group, for the tight end position group for the Chiefs in 2023, they started the season with Blake Bell on the roster. He's no longer on the roster. And then the Chiefs added Jared Wiley and Peyton Hendershot, which these are two guys who I don't think will have much of a role in 2024. I hope they prove me wrong, but I give the Chiefs tight end group an A last year, giving them an A this year. Moving on to the offensive line, I give this group an A this year. Last year, I would have given them a B+. And this is mainly because I am high on Kingsley Suamataia. And this name is a nightmare to pronounce if you're ever doing, Chiefs content. You always cross your fingers when you say their name, when you say Kingsley's name. But I think Kingsley Suamataia is going to be a better left tackle than Donovan Smith was last year. And I think that's mostly going to be factored around to that. He's just not going to get as many holding calls. The Chiefs' offense last year was stifled so many times because of offensive penalties, and I don't see Kingsley Suamataia having these same problems. So, overall, I think this group has improved marginally. The key additions, like we said, Kingsley Suamataia has been added. Hunter Norzad, C.J. Hansen, Ethan Driscoll are all players that were not on the opening day roster in 2023. Who did the Chiefs lose? They lost Nick Allegretti. Now, that's a big loss. It's a good a player that could play all the interior offensive line positions. He got paid elsewhere. Good for him. The Chiefs lost Donovan Smith, and they lost Prince Tega Winogo. So, overall, I think this is a improved Chiefs offensive line. And overall, I think the offense in total has improved substantially. So this is going to be a much better offensive team this year, and you shouldn't see them hovering around 20 points per game. You should see that number climb. I'm expecting this group to have anywhere from around 24-ish points per game. I think that would be a fair target for this group. Now, NFL defenses have been playing better as of recent years, so we'll see if that translates again this year or if the Chiefs' new wide receiver additions can make that big of a change. But I think that this should be a top 5 offensive team with the talent that they have, the offensive line that they have, the wide receivers that they have. So I'm excited to see what this team can do in their opener versus the Ravens. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball. So, pass rushers. Key losses for the pass rushers on the Chiefs team, they didn't lose anybody. So they have no one that was on the 2023 roster but is not also on the 2024 roster. They do have one addition, and that is Cam Thomas. And I like the signing of Cam Thomas. Kind of has some shade of Charles Omenihu. Maybe not as good as Charles Omenihu, but was one of those guys that was productive when he was on the field. So you want to see Cameron Thomas fill kind of a depth role for the Chiefs pass rush. And last year, I gave the Chiefs pass rushers a B. This year, I'm also giving them a B. It's a decent unit. It's not the best in the NFL, but I think George Karlaftis is going to have a really good year. Keep in mind, he came into the league when he was 21 years old, so I think he's going to be 24 next year. So I think he's going to have a good year in his third season. I think it's all going to click for him, and he's going to be really productive. But I think that position group is the same last year as it was this year in terms of my grade. Moving on to defensive tackle for the Chiefs. I give this group an A-, which is what I gave them last year. And key losses for this group, Matt Dickerson, Neil Farrell, and Keandre Coburn. And Keandre Coburn is always going to be a mystery to me in Kansas City because he just looked very talented, and the Chiefs decided to cut him, and another team swooped in and picked him up. And he had a good camp for that team. So I can't remember which team specifically it was, but I remember hearing good news about him. Key additions for the Chiefs was going into 2024, Mike Pennell. Now, as you know, he was on the roster last season, but he was not on the roster at the start of the season, and he had an unbelievable playoff run for the Chiefs. So I'm excited to see what he can do, and I think his number is going to be called versus the Ravens in that Week 1 matchup because they're going to need some run stuffers in that game, and that's what Mike Pennell does. So I'm excited to see him back for another year with the Chiefs. And obviously you have Chris Jones, perhaps the best defensive player in all of the NFL, leading that group. And the only reason I did not give that group a solid A was because I feel like they could use one more piece that can cause a little bit of noise in the passing game to pair next to Chris Jones. If they had that, that defense would be awesome, especially the pass rush. Moving on to linebacker. So this is the first position group on the entire team that I think got worse going into 2024. The key losses for the Chiefs were Willie Gay. Willie Gay Jr. no longer on the Chiefs roster. And key additions for this group between this year and last year, no key additions. So the Chiefs lost Willie Gay, didn't really replace him with anyone, and I feel like Willie Gay fit a good role for this Chiefs defense. He was a good sideline to sideline linebacker, could do a little pass pro, was athletic. So I don't think that it's going to be a major drop-off. Last year I would have given this group an A minus, and this year I give them a B plus. So it's a very small drop-off, but it's the first position group to fall for the Chiefs. Moving on to the cornerback room, key losses for cornerbacks. This one's pretty obvious. L'Jarius Sneed, no longer on the Chiefs roster, and that's a huge loss for the Chiefs. Key additions in the cornerback room, really none. I have Eric Scott Jr. on the 53, and he came on board going into 2024, but he's a depth player, and really how good this unit performs is going to depend on whoever the second cornerback is, opposite of Trent McDuffie. So if Joshua Williams has a really good year, this could potentially be an A-level group, but time will only tell. Last year I would have given this group an A+. This year I'm giving this group a B. So that's a large drop-off. So we have a drop-off, a very small drop-off for the linebackers, a large drop-off for the cornerbacks. I do, however, like that Steve Spagnuolo, just over his career, especially with the Chiefs, has found a way to make cornerbacks play at an exceptional level. And I would not be surprised if this group towards the end of the year was one of the top pass defense units in all the NFL. I wouldn't put that past Steve Spagnuolo with this group. But right now, I'm saying this group drops from an A+ to a B. Moving on to safeties. Last year, I would have given this group a B or a B+. This year, I'm giving them an A-. And I'm giving them an A- and improving them over this year, mostly because I like the growth that I saw from Brian Cook last year. I love the Jaden Hicks pick. The Chiefs did lose Mike Edwards between this year and last. But overall, I think this is an improved group because of Brian Cook's improvement and Jaden Hicks's draft. Drafting Jaden Hicks, I think he's going to play a good role on this team. So overall, the defense got a little worse. The offense got much better, in my opinion. And I think that this is going to be a really good year for the Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl the last 2 years, obviously. But I think they're better this year overall as a team than they were last year. And that should be scaring the pants off of 32 other NFL teams. And then lastly, let's talk about the punter. The Chiefs parted ways with Tommy Townsend, who many of us liked quite a bit. I like Tommy Townsend. and they replaced him with Matt Araiza. And in the preseason, the first game, Matt Araiza didn't have a good game, but then after that, he was just dropping everything inside, the 20 and kicking the living daylights out of the ball. I have a hard time saying the Chiefs improved at this position, but I do think they got a little better. So maybe Tommy Townsend was A- or a B+, and then Matt Araiza would be your A-. So that's where I am with that group. However, this video is coming close to an end, and I haven't even asked you to like the video yet, so maybe reward us for my patience and hit the like button if you are so inclined. And then also, everyone, I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. We are getting closer to 30,000 subscribers, which has been our goal for a long time. You've heard me talking about it for a long time if you've been watching this channel. But we're really trying to get to 30,000 subscribers. So if you like what you see in this video, join us here at RGR Football. Subscribe, and we really appreciate each and every one of you who has been with us on this awesome journey on YouTube. Got nothing but love for all of you. I'm Gary McKenzie. This is the end of the video. I'm signing out. In just a week or so, we're going to have real football, and I am beyond excited. So let's go, Chiefs. Here's to a good week for everyone. Have a good weekend, and real football right around the corner. I cannot wait. Y'all take it easy.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.